David Petraeus was considered one of America's most highly regarded generals. He was head of the CIA, was even considered a rising star in the race for the White House. It all came to a screeching halt when he was caught leaking classified information to his mistress, then lying about it to officials. A public apology quickly followed.
I know that I can never fully assuage the pain that I inflicted on those closest to me and on a number of others. I can, however, try to move forward and as best possible to make amends to those I have hurt.
Soldier's Dream. All right, I want to bring in author William Doyle. He just wrote the book, A Soldier's Dream. You interviewed Petraeus for this book, so you have a perspective unique to so many. So he obviously has reached this plea agreement, this plea deal, and the headlines recently have been, it's been uncovered that he has been an advisor to President Obama, to the White House on Iraq right now. What do you make of that?
Well, I interviewed Petraeus for the book A Soldier's Dream several years ago, and I was struck by how powerfully he courted the press, including myself. He seemed to be a man on a mission to really burnish his historical image, his legacy, absolutely. He was very, very good at that. Some other people in the military did not feel fondly toward him for that reason.
Really?
You know, he's one of the very few people who are credited with achieving success in the world of counterinsurgency and our recent wars. But he was, very interestingly, in my book, A Soldier's Dream, he said that he gave the credit to junior officers the year before who kicked things off in Anbar province in the awakening. So I credit him for a certain intellectual honesty. But advising Obama now is interesting because, as you said, he faced he faced a felony charge, very serious charges, giving classified information.
And he hasn't been sentenced yet. That comes next month. It's expected he'll pay a $40,000 fine, maybe probation, but who knows? It's going to be up to the judge. I do want to read you what the White House said about this. Josh Ernst saying, General Petraeus is somebody who served for a number of years in Iraq. He commanded a large number of American military personnel in that country. He is, I think, legitimately regarded as an expert when it comes to the security situation in Iraq. So I think it makes a lot of sense for senior administration officials on occasion to consult him for advice. I wonder if he will have access or has had access since this revelation to classified material. Would he?
I think he's been completely walled off from all classified material for the past several years. I've dealt with classified material as a journalist in my last book, Navy SEALs, Their Untold Story, which was a history of the SEALs. I had to deal with the Pentagon and the CIA asking me not to publish the name of the SEAL team that took out Osama bin Laden, which any 10-year-old with a smartphone can find out. So there are layers of complexity and sometimes absurdity in the classification area. Right now, there are people in jail for doing less than what Petraeus did, you could argue. And Petraeus now has a plea deal for a misdemeanor, not a felony, for a fairly small fine and possibly an arrangement for 2 years probation. So nothing's really happening to him.
Quickly, before I let you go, you said it is so important to Petraeus how he is remembered. How, looking at his life up until now, how will people remember him?
A brilliant man who's very good at promoting himself, who made a real contribution in Iraq, whose legacy, I think, is properly diminished by the role of other soldiers in building temper, in contributing toward, in sacrificing for Iraq, much of which seems to have fallen apart, that legacy so far, but also a man who rose to as high as you can go, and through stupid human decisions, on his own account, fell farther than most other people fall. Maybe it's a good thing to see people able to have a second life, as he's having now, but there are definite double standards and complexities to this, and if I were one of the people in jail for leaking classified information in a noble cause, I would be awfully angry that more wasn't done to make an example, perhaps, but maybe we should all have a chance for redemption.
William Doyle, good to have you on the program. Thank you, sir.